This is Hand Tool Woodworking Shop Notes for Tuesday, April 6th. My name's Chad LeMay and I'm back in the shop. Today I'm working on the 6-board chest, or I'm continue working on the 6-board chest. I took some time yesterday to mill up the back, the board that'll be the back. Yeah, I did a podcast on that, and it was, well, I didn't do a podcast on the back, I did a podcast on the front and the sides, and it was pretty boring. The back's not perfect by any means. There's a knot that's missing, and some of the edges are even more imperfect. But we're going to move on. I want to paint this thing. My wife's not so crazy about it, but I might be able to do a light whitewash. She wants to be able to see grain. We'll see how it comes out. But for today, I'm going to be getting the sides to shape, as well as a dado that'll hold the bottom. So let's get going on that. Alright, I just got distracted by something I saw at the hardware store this morning. My local little mom and pop hardware store has a lot of weird stuff that not a lot of people use. I found a dusty old box, and the nails, all they have is wire nails for the most part. Some cut tacks. They didn't have any. I did a thorough check and they didn't have any cut nails. But they did have a box of these suckers. See that? I don't know if this is pressed or not, but hold it by the head. It's in the shape of a cut nail. In the box in the hardware store, I thought it was aluminum. I thought they were aluminum. They're labeled horse nails, so I assume these are for shoeing horses. But I have a little clutch of these that I got from my grandfather's shop, and I noticed that some of them have rust, which is good. I checked with a magnet, and they're steel, which is good. I also have a bunch of masonry nails. These are hardened, but they are steel. I tried to cut one of these with a hacksaw and it took forever. These suckers are soft. I tried to cut one with a hacksaw and it took, I don't know, less than 30 seconds. Zipped the head right off. I tried to cut through the head of one so I could give myself a little bit of a head. You see that? Yeah. And I cut it really wonky. You may have heard some sort of motor going. That was my grinder. I just ground this down so it's more or less square. So now I've got myself a cut nail for the time investment of a minute for free. So if I wanted to, I could use these instead of the old-fashioned cut nails, rod head. And I'll show you why I might consider using the modified horse nails. Look at the difference in size there. About a tippy tip. These guys are monsters compared to that. All things considered, they do have a nice hammered head. Tip that into the light. But even if I cut it with a little bit of head, it's just over 1.5 inches, where these big mamma jammas are 2 3/8 to the head. Yeah, you can't read this. Yeah, so I might spend some time cutting these guys up. I'll have to do a review to see if these guys would be long enough. But that might be nice in certain applications. I can use these like possibly behind some skirting that might go on the chest. We'll see. But I'm psyched about this. I might just, oh shoot, I just threw my cut one back in the jar with, I'll find it later. Yeah, I might have to buy that box from the hardware store. Life hack. Okay, cool. Alright, I got one notch cut, and unfortunately I've run out of time for the day, so I'm going to wrap it up there. The cut came out square. It seemed like moving the clamps along as I go took whatever bow was out of it, so I'm confident I'll be able to flex this thing square when the time comes. But that's it for the day. I'll see you tomorrow. This is Hand Tool Woodworking Shop Notes for Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. My name is Chad LeMay and I'm back in the shop. So yesterday I cut, well, you're still watching it, so you know what I just did. Anyway, I'm not happy with what I have right now. I'm going to take this apart and show you. So here's one of the sides so far. That's how much of a foot there'd be, and I think that looks dumb. I would be at, I'd be cutting like a boot jack that's about that tall, maybe shorter, and that's stupid. So I need taller sides. These are only 15 inches. I'm just gonna have to make the whole thing taller. I could make it like up to 18 inches and still have it be functional. The boys will be climbing up it a little more. Still gonna be like 12.5 inches deep as far as interior capacity goes. So I've got to get more stock milled up. Not psyched about doing that, to be honest with you. Okay, before we do that, how about if I just sharpen the scrub plane, because it's gone dull. It still cuts like crazy, but it's dull. Yeah, let's do that. All right, this is how I sharpen my scrub plane, which is just a Stanley Handyman. I inherited from, when I say I inherited stuff from my grandfather, that's my dad's dad. This I got from my mom's dad, who was a metal worker, more or less, in his hobby time. This thing was very well cared for, probably rarely used. It was sharp as you can get, but it was sharpened straight across when I got it. I did that. It's nice and light, and it works really well for a scrub plane. Let's see if we can look at this. Here is the working edge. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's tough to see, but I can see it. I can see the edge, which means it's dull. Almost feels like there's a burr. Anyway, so let's get at it. I'm going to start on my medium Dia-Sharp diamond stone, which is actually fine. I don't know if you can see that or not. Ooh, a hell of a glare there. Maybe you just got to peek at it. Anyway, let's start there. It's starting to feel a burr on the outsides. Still got to work the middle a little more. I probably could have started off with my coarse stone. That would have made this quicker. But I'm almost there. Alright. Alright, I got a burr. That's good. Removes a bunch of metal. I was enamored with the natural oil stones, but there's a learning curve to those, and I've gummed them up, so I need to figure out how to clean them, and then clean them, and then I can get back to that. So let's get rid of yesterday's burr. Or at least fold it over. And this is my fine diamond stone, which is, I believe, extra fine from DMT. And DMT is a Massachusetts company, so I'm basically shopping local here. Or I did when I got these, even though I ordered them on the internet. I got it back. I think I got it. I want to check my scratch pattern to make sure I've gotten rid of all the medium stone scratches, especially along the edge. I think I'm good. I'm just going to hit it a little more. For a while I was using a different rag for each stone because I was afraid that different size diamond particulates would contaminate the rags, and then I would contaminate the wrong stones, but I'm not worried about that anymore. Maybe that's a concern when your stones are new and you haven't really broken them in yet. I don't know, but this seems to be doing fine. Anyway, this only gets it so fine. Even though this is the extra fine stone, I go after it with a strop afterwards, which is what really makes it sharp. Beyond that, I mean, this is a scrub plane, so it doesn't, yeah, I mean, it was still cutting like a champ the last time I was using it, just because it's got that that bevel on the blade, so I think we'll be all right. Get that. Yeah, this will do. Let me show you my strops. So I got a piece of heavy leather, smooth side up, glued to this block, which I can just throw in my face vise here. That works nice. What I've found actually kind of works better and is a little quicker is just, this is cheap, thin, stretchy, flexible leather, full grain side up. I think that's what they call it. I'm probably wrong. The fuzzy side up. Not glued to anything, obviously. I've been thinking about gluing this down to a block. Or maybe put a layer of the cork. I've got this I've got a ton of this 1/4 inch cork. So I can easily make, awesome sanding blocks. Like this little beauty. This is 80 grit, like cloth belt. This is going to last a long time. That I've just glued to a scrap of maple with a layer of the cork in between. Give it a little bit of flex. It really doesn't flex that much once you put all that glue on it. Anyway, so I've been thinking about gluing this down to a piece of cork and then gluing the cork to a block like that, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so this is how this goes. And I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see the strop changing color and getting darker, which means I'm moving metal. And I'm just rocking a little bit as I go with each stroke, rocking it back and forth. And you want to just do this a bunch, basically. Try to maintain the angle, or that's what I try to do. I should stop trying to tell you guys what you should do. This is the way I do it. Try to maintain the angle. Do it until your elbow hurts or you're bored. And you will get a nice shiny edge. Polish those scratches. That's what you're doing. Trying to smooth out all the scratches left over from the sharpening stone. Trying to get to a 0 atom edge. And this is where this drop excels, is doing the flat part. You see that? I don't know if you can see that. In the shine there, I've got some, looks to be scratches. There you go. See these scratches? I don't see anything, I don't feel anything, but it looks like it's leaving scratches. I think Paul Sellers says you want to do 30 strokes when you're stropping, at least 30 strokes. Test it. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame here. I'm testing it on my thumb, touching your thumbnail to it. When it's sharp, if you touch it, just touch it to the back of your nail. It should bite, kind of stick. I've also heard that if you run it along your thumbnail, it should slide super smooth, like it's wet, not sharp, and it's kind of hitching in the middle, like it's a little scratchy in the middle of the blade here when I slide it along. This is going to be anticlimactic. It's nice to take a nice smooth, yeah, I'm still getting those scratches. So I'm not sharp in the very middle. Yeah, I can see the edge. Or maybe that's just a wire edge. I'm not sharp in the very middle, but that's the deepest part of, sorry, that's the deepest part of the cut with the scrub plane. So I'm not terribly worried about it. What's nice about having a loose leather like this is you can give it one of those. Sorry, you didn't see that again. You can give it one of these. A pinch. It's getting dirty. Alright. I think we're going to give that a shot. Keep the strop on the bench, because the more you use the strop, the less you have to sharpen. And I've even heard of people that, carvers mostly, that don't sharpen. They just drop. That's diligence. Let's see here. Okay. In a rag. This is how close I get the chip breaker. Not close. I'm going to retract. Put the plane back together. Hold it up. Pardon me. Got some cheap pine. So I'm all the way retracted, and I'm still sticking out. Well, it cuts. Crushing the crap out of those fibers, though. That's not really what you're looking for. But as far as scrub cutting goes, maybe if I could lighten the cut, I could get that better. That's what it's good for. Fat. Chip of a shaving. Let's see if we can get that thicker. Yeah. Light silk on it. Whatever. That's that. So this is still not sharp, but it's sharp. Let's call it that. Still not sharp, but it's sharp. So I got my scrub plane sharp. Honest to God, I don't feel like going through the rest of the reclaimed wood to find the pieces to replace the sides. I don't feel like dimensioning stock right now. And being in the shop is about having fun in the shop, right? So what I do feel like doing is some carving. Let me show you the project I got going. Never mind. See that? No. Okay. It's hard to see, huh? Let me get the drawing. Hang on a second. And you see this. This is the image I've transferred onto that piece of cherry just by rubbing it with my carpenter's pencil on the back. I printed this off. I did some Photoshop work to... This was a picture I took of these presses that they have in Iceland that they use to make like a lace bread, which is, it's super thin. It's almost like a cracker, basically. And I don't know, I might get in trouble for this, but I don't know if it's for a specific holiday or something, but they make this lace bread, and it takes like all day. Nowadays they just buy it, I think. But you roll out the dough super thin, and then you can like cut shapes in it, like in a pattern. Bake it up, and then you've got like this, you come out with like a stack of crackers, and they don't do anything without putting like a jelly or something on it, butter or jelly. Anyway, they're really good. It's like a light thing. You end up eating like 15 or 20 of them. And this is an old school design they used to like press on the lace bread. I took this picture in some village that my wife's, I think, great or great great grandfather was the carpenter of, Um, and so he may have made these like presses. So I took this picture and I made it round in Photoshop and I colored it in, and I plan on carving this out to make like basically a stamp, to maybe do like woodblock printing. I think it would make a cool design on a sweatshirt. Anyway, so I'm going to work on that a little bit. I haven't done relief carving in cherry, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. Alright, I just had to take a break to fold the laundry, but I got about a half an hour left. So, these are my carving tools. Got the Pafile Swiss made 6-10. I think, yeah, 6 is the sweep, and it's 10 millimeters. Little gouge here. And then I've got these I inherited from my grandfather. This is an 8 dash who knows what, smaller. But it's almost a U shape. I think the 9 is a true U shape. And then I've got a number 12 V gouge. I think 12 is the V gouge. And that's, who knows what, maybe a 1/4 inch wide at the top. Those are my gouges. That's what I got. I'm also going to be working with my 1 inch. Oh my god, this thing's gnarly. I should sharpen this. My 1 inch Stanley Sweetheart. One of the new ones. 750 series. This is A2 steel. It's a little harder to sharpen, but the diamond stones they don't care. They're just gonna sharpen whatever. And then also a trusty chip carving knife from our friends at Woodcraft. The only thing I bought here was the Stanley. I got a set of those. The rest of this stuff I got inherited from my, oh sorry, I got this one too. The big 610 gouge. I bought that. The other tools I got from my grandfather. So, where to start on this? Oh, we know where to start. I gotta sharpen this chisel. Alright, so I took a good look at the chisel, and I think we're good to go with the medium. My medium stone. So that's where we're going to start. I find that the fine stone, which is actually greater than fine, according to DMT, this is the extra fine. You end up fighting the meniscus of the liquid. All right, I'll turn that burr. Especially when you're doing a flat, because it just wants to kind of suck itself up, and then you're almost hydroplaning. So you do have to give it some pressure to get it to engage. And then when you're running the tool off along it, you can feel the milling marks that flattened the steel, like ripples. turn a burr there. It feels like I'm flipping the burr back and forth. You can kind of feel it here, and it's a wire edge like they write about. So I'm going to go to the strop. And for the chisels, I think I'm going to go right into the hard leather. I don't feel wire anymore. It's probably in my head, but I feel like I can almost feel a wire edge on the back of the chisel. Now as I'm doing this, I can see that I'm smearing honing compound around. Obviously it's all really dark with steel, but apparently, from what I've read on the internet and been able to gather through the noise that is comments about sharpening, I've got too much compound on here, apparently, allegedly. I mean, it still cuts. I imagine it would cut just fine if I had, or once I wear down all this compound. I'll still have, what is it, chromium oxide or whatever that's in that green stuff. Flip, 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 flip. Yikes. I feel sketchy. Yeah, that's nice and sharp. Maybe a little demo on that one. Alright, so this is, can you see that? See how chewed up that is from the scrub plane? See, perhaps I've got that inch or so in the end with no broken fibers between the 5/8 worth of early wood and it is glossy. It almost looks wet, so you have to take my word for that. Alright, so that's sharp. Yeah, alright, so here's a funny angle for you. I know you guys can't see my lines, but what I'm going to do to start is just try to go around the outside. From the picture I took, a lot of the lines are really wavy. You can see just the outside line there, how it's not nice and smooth. And that's because these, like, I mean, did I even mention that the presses that they used, those were hand carved out of wood? So, yeah. Anyway, so there's been some degradation over time. The image that I got, it looked like it was wavy, so that's what I traced. I'm going to try to stay true to that and make this wavy looking. As far as what tool to use, it's kind of hit or miss. I'm going to go starting off with that the V-gouge. Let's see what we come up with here. Try to work across the grain. Yeah, okay. So I've heard that you want to be able to go both ways. You want to be ambidextrous with your carving, so I'm going to give that a shot. This is really wavy, so I'm just going to start over here where it's a lot less wavy. Ooh. Not that yet. When I'm going with the grain, I want a little more control, so I'm kind of switching over to my right hand. And there is a pin knot right here. I'm probably going to end up cutting this piece of wood like right there. That's not bad. I'll show you what kind of a line I'm doing here. You see that? You gotta see that, right? Yeah, so I'll establish this line, and then I'll basically gouge out all this stuff, and that'll leave that line nice and high. So I keep your grain going this way, forward. So I keep going this way. The clean side of the cup will be on the outside. So if I mesh, right? I think this goes up, and keep going. Alright, I'm all the way around. This is going to be cool.